Hello. This is Monday, February 19th, 2024. I'm Theodore Parker, and this is the Sideshow. In this area of Kentucky today, the temperature will go up to around 50 degrees. And presently, in this area of Kentucky, Lexington, the temperature is sitting at 22 degrees and feels like 22 degrees. Today it'll be mostly sunny, highs in the low 50s and lows in the upper 20s. Wet weather and warmer temperatures ahead this week. Today's sunrise will be at 7:23 a.m. and sunset at 6:20 p.m. Wind will be around 2 miles per hour. The AQI is good at 18, and conditions for running are poor. As I said, I'm Theodore Parker, and this is the Sideshow. And if you're watching the Sideshow on Facebook and Instagram, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Talk about it on WhatsApp. You're watching the Sideshow on YouTube. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And of course, the Sideshow coffee cup. Black 11-ounce ceramic, dishwasher safe, good for all beverages, hot and cold, as I like to say. Buy from me for $17 plus shipping and handling. Pay me through Cash App, $ TR Parker 1. Well, we're coming off a sports weekend, mostly related to basketball. And I must also add this, Black History Month continues. So from all reports, everybody that could shine did shine this weekend. Mostly basketball, NBA, celebrity games, all-star games, things of this nature. And I must admit that I am reporting on these things from other people's input. Unfortunately, I did not watch any sports this weekend past. So, just so you know. So we'll start out, move around a little bit. Karl Anthony Towns drops 50 points to lead Kentucky basketball party in NBA All-Star game. I think they also had a celebrity game as well. Right here in Lexington, UK versus Auburn. UK for the win, 70-59. And this game, according to all reports, gave Kentucky fans a chance to see UK not only offensively but defensively for the double-digit win. In NASCAR, Raja Karuth's shock win sparks NASCAR community outrage. I think the headline speaks for itself. This young man is black. Another headline, U.S. warships are shooting down weapons no one's ever faced in combat before. And this is related to the Houthis bringing in warships and firing missiles. And the Navy commander says it's a great opportunity. All right. So as I said, and this being the month of February, Black History Month, there was a couple of things that I wanted to cover relative to that. And these are news articles that have been published in regards to Black history. So the first one is related to common phrases, or at least phrases that we consider to be common. And come to find out, 10 of those are actually racist. So, to my surprise, I'm familiar with some of them. So, we're just going to get into it. As much as we like to pretend every phrase we utter is a lone star suspended in the space of our own genius, all language has a history. Unfortunately, given humanity's aptitude for treating each other like... Okay, this article does have some profanity in it, so I'm just going to get on with it. Unfortunately, given humanity's aptitude for treating each other like shit, etymology is fraught with reminders of our very racist world. Since I have faith that most of you reading want to navigate the world with intelligence and empathy, I figured it'd be useful to share some of the everyday phrases rooted in racist etymology. Knowledge is power, and the way we use and contextualize our words can make a huge difference in the atmosphere we create. First word, thug. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition, a thug is a violent criminal. Obviously, this definition leaves the word open to define people of all ethnicities. However, given the frequent ways this word has been used to describe Black Lives Matter protesters, the 17-year-old murder victim Trayvon Martin, and sadly almost every Black victim of police brutality, there is an undeniable racial charge to the word. When you consider the people who are called thugs, groups of Black protesters, victims of racial violence, teenagers minding their own business, and flip the racial element, you'll be hard-pressed to find examples of white people being called thugs in earnest by the media, or really by anyone. Excuse me. Let me get this straight. Marshawn Lynch is a thug because he doesn't talk enough. And Richard Sherman is a thug because he talks too much. Several prominent activists and Black writers have written about the phenomenon of thug replacing the N-word in modern culture. In a popular press conference back in 2014, the Seattle Seahawks player Richard Sherman explained his feelings about the word. The reason it bothers me is because it seems like it's an accepted way of calling somebody the N-word now. It's like everybody else said the N-word and then they say thug, and that's fine. It kind of takes me aback, and it's kind of disappointing because they know, Sherman said. If a 1400 SAT score and a degree from Stanford makes you a thug, then I want my kids to be thugs. And that's from Twitter, formerly Twitter X. If you're talking about an actual criminal, there are so many descriptive words to invoke besides thug. Given its current use as a negative racially coded word, avoiding its use seems like an easy and obvious move. Number 2, grandfather clause. When most of us hear the term grandfather clause, we just think of the generalized description, a person or entity that is allowed to continue operating over now expired rules. But the literal meaning reveals the grandfather clause as a racist post-Reconstruction political strategy. This is the historical definition according to the Encyclopedia Britannica. Grandfather clause, statutory or constitutional device enacted by 7 southern states between 1895 and 1910 to deny suffrage to African Americans. It provided that those who had enjoyed the right to vote prior to 1866 or 1867, or their lineal descendants, would be exempt from educational, property, or tax requirements for voting. Because the former slaves had not been guaranteed a franchise until, excuse me, until adoption of the 15th Amendment in 1870, those clauses worked effectively to include black people from the vote, but assured a franchise to many impoverished and illiterate whites. In modern speak, this basically meant the grandfather clause let white people off the hook for new voting requirements because their ancestors were already registered voters. Meanwhile, black people were required to fill out impossible literacy tests and pay exorbitant poll taxes to vote. This in turn meant many black people were unable to vote, while white people weren't held to the same standard. Well, I can accept this or this. And then the person in front of you says, but I want both. Gypsy or gyp. Number 3. The word gypsy was and is a racial slur referring to the Roma people. The Roma people are descendants of northern India who, due to severe marginalization and threats of violence by others, lived a nomadic lifestyle or forced migration for centuries. During a fraught history, Roman people were taken as slaves in Romania and were targeted by genocide by the Nazis. The word gypsy is a slang word perpetuating stereotypes of Roman people as thieves, rowdies, dirty, immoral, common, asocials, and work shy, according to the Council of Europe. In a similar vein, the term gyp or getting gypped means to cheat or get conned, and many connect this meaning as another racist extension of gypsy. Number 4, no can do. The saying no can do and long time no see come from Westerners mocking Chinese immigrants. And it just so happens that I'm watching this series on Netflix called Warriors, and it's really a timeline for San Francisco. According to the Oxford Dictionary, excuse me, the very common phrase no can do was originally made popular as a way to make fun of Chinese immigrants. The widespread use of the phrase in English today has obscured its origin. What might seem like folksy abbreviated version of I can't do it is actually an imitation of Chinese Pidgin English. The phrase dates from the mid-19th century to early 20th centuries, an era when Western attitudes toward the Chinese were markedly racist. Number 5, sold down the river. The phrase sold down the river came from Louisville, Kentucky, where the enslaved were traded in one of the largest slave markets of the 19th century. Upon first hearing, many people associate the phrase sold down the river with the notion of being betrayed, lied to, or otherwise screwed over. While these definitions all technically apply to the origin, the root of this phrase is much more bleak. According to a report from NPR, National Public Radio, being sold down the river was a literal reference to slavery and the families that were torn apart in the South. River was a literal reference to the Mississippi or Ohio rivers. For much of the first half of the 19th century, Louisville, Kentucky was one of the largest slave trading marketplaces in the country. Slaves would be taken to Louisville to be sold down the river and transported to the cotton plantations in states further south. This heavy connotation sadly makes sense, but also makes casual use of the phrase feel way more cringe-inducing. Number 6, welfare queen. The GOP argument on Obamacare has more than a whiff of Reagan-era racial welfare queen politics. The term welfare queen was first popularized by Ronald Reagan's 1976 presidential campaign, in which he repeatedly painted a picture of a Cadillac driving welfare queen. This straw woman in Reagan's campaign served as a racially charged exaggeration of one minor case of real welfare fraud used to peddle his platform for welfare reform. Needless to say, the term has sadly lived on as a racially charged vehicle used to undermine the importance of welfare programs, while peddling gross stereotypes about black women. On top of all the other offenses, this stereotype is, of course, ignoring the fact that poor white Americans receive the most welfare out of any economically disadvantaged demographic. Shuck and jive. Another quote from Twitter: Obama's shuck and jive ends with Benghazi lies. The term shuck and jive is both common and very obviously rooted in the language of slavery. According to the online etymology dictionary, the phrase shuck and jive refers to the fact that black slaves sang and shouted gleefully during corn shucking season. And this behavior, along with lying and teasing, became a part of the protective and evasive behavior normally adopted towards white people in traditional race relations. Likewise, the modern use of this phrase refers to pandering, selling out, or instances in which black people go along with racist white people's wishes. Again, not a phrase to be thrown around lightly. Number 8, long time no see. The very commonly used greeting, long time no see, first became popular as a way to make fun of Native Americans. The phrase was used as a way to mock a traditional greeting exchanged between Native Americans. This is the official definition according to the Oxford Dictionary. Long time no see was originally meant as a humorous interpretation of a Native American greeting used after a prolonged separation. The current earliest citation recorded in the Oxford English Dictionary comes from W.F. Drannon's book, 31 Years on Plains. When we rode up to him, that is an American Indian, he said, "Good morning, long time no see you." The act of committing genocide is not limited to human lives, but also translates to a normalized cultural violence. Deconstructing, mocking, and erasing someone's language contributes to this pattern of colonialism. Number 9, the peanut gallery. Did you know the phrase peanut gallery has racist origins? It was the cheapest and worst part of the theater and the only option for black attendees. No one wanted to sit in the peanut gallery, and today no one wants to hear from the peanut gallery. Most modern uses of the term, the peanut gallery, is in reference to a group of people who needlessly criticize or mocking another person. However, the historical roots of this term are much more racist and painful. Originally, this term referred to the balconies in segregated theaters where black people were forced to sit. The nickname peanut was given due to the fact that peanuts were introduced to America at the same time as the slave trade. Because of this, Because of this, there was a connection drawn between black people and peanuts. Minorities must stand up to abuse. Kneeling to protest at games is tasteful yet effective, but white owners and racists think blacks are, the term is uppity. Uppity. Minorities must stand up to abuse. Kneeling to protest at games is a tasteful yet effective, but white owners and racists think blacks are too uppity. Uppity word used by racist old South white Southerners to refer to any black person who looks them in the eye. As of now, the word uppity is often used as a synonym for stuck up or pretentious or conceited, but the roots of the word are far more specific and racist. The word uppity was first used by Southerners to refer to slaves who did not fall into line or acted as if they didn't know their place. So basically, any black person who overtly stood up to racism. Given the heaviness of this origin, it seems best to leave this word at home when looking to describe a pretentious acquaintance. Sadly, given our ugly history, there are many more words and phrases I could add to this list. In the meantime, hopefully this list is helpful for navigating the racism innate in our language. Well, that explains some things to me. And speaking of name calling, the haves and I think TF not. Right-winger John Schneider slammed for comparing Beyonce to dog urinating on country music. Beehive swarms unserious saltine. The Beehive is swarming to Beyonce's defense after Dukes of Hazzard has been John Schneider compared her to a dog for making country music. During Black History Month, in an interview on the conservative cesspool One American News, the 63-year-old came for the Queen's upcoming project. The segment focused on Beyonce's fans recently demanding that an Oklahoma radio station play her newest songs. TMZ reports Snyder said Beyonce was like a dog marking its territory on country music. Mrs. Carter has the Saltines extra salty about embracing her Texas roots with the Yeehaw agenda. When the Hive put that radio station on blast for claiming Texas Hold'em isn't country, it only made rancid racists madder. John Schneider compares Beyonce to a urinating dog. And this is her in the silver outfit with the Stetson and the boots. The segment specified Beyonce, but Schneider compared all leftist musicians in country music to animals. The lefties in the entertainment industry just won't leave any area alone, right? They just have to seize control over every aspect, don't they? The host said. They got to make their mark just like a dog in a dog walk park. You know, every dog has to mark every tree, right? So that's what's going on here, John said. There's a video to go with it. Phew! That's a lot of audacity of causanacity considering black people in the South innovated the genre, its sound, and even its instruments like the banjo. The Tyler Perry Productions actor mentioned that it's usually country artists like Shania Twain trying to cross over into the mainstream. Mind you, beloved country queen Shania is from Canada and got her start by singing backup for Michael Jackson. Snyder probably didn't have dehumanizing disses for Australian Keith Urban rising to fame in country music either. Whether Snyder is racist or just a pathetic clout chaser, this is the most attention he'll get for his washed-up music career. It seems like he never let go of the Confederate flag painted on his TV character's car in the 80s. They may convince the group constantly rewriting history that he's a gatekeeper of what's country. Meanwhile, several comments pulled the New York native's card in a New York Minute. And those are posted on X, formerly Twitter. So, speaking of Texas, as the only black woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company, Thasunda Brown Dockett leads a company that manages $1.2 trillion yearly. Thasunda Brown Dockett's ascent to the position of president and CEO of TIAA in May 2021, and I've heard of them, seen it in the media, marked a significant milestone in corporate leadership. As the only black woman currently at the helm of a Fortune 500 company, Dockett joined the ranks of esteemed leaders such as Rosalind Brewer of Walgreens Boots Alliance, former Xerox CEO Ursula Burns, and Mary Winston, former interim CEO at Bed Bath & Beyond. Founded in 1918 with a mission to assist educators in securing their financial futures, TIAA has evolved into a powerhouse in the financial services sector. With a workforce of 15,000 employees, the firm now manages a staggering $1.2 trillion in assets annually, providing retirement solutions to 5 million professionals in academia, healthcare, culture, and government. Dockett's journey to the top echelons of corporate America is deeply rooted in her personal upbringing and professional experience. Hailing from Texas, she often recounts her parents' struggles to make ends meet, a narrative that fuels her drive to promote financial inclusion and diversity in the industry. Witnessing her father's lack of retirement planning served as a catalyst for Dockett's commitment to bridging the gap in financial literacy and retirement preparedness, particularly among underserved communities. With her newfound platform as CEO of a retirement company, Dockett advocates for comprehensive strategies to enhance financial well-being, urging both business leaders and policymakers to prioritize initiatives that promote retirement planning and investment literacy. She states the importance of automatic enrollment in retirement plans, increased contributions, and availability of guaranteed income products such as annuities to ensure a secure financial future for all individuals. Beyond her corporate responsibilities, Dockett champions the concept of a diversified life portfolio, encouraging individuals to strike a balance between professional pursuits and personal fulfillment. Rejecting the notion of work-life balance as an unattainable ideal, she advocates for the intentional allocation of time and energy, exemplified by her active engagement in family activities alongside her professional endeavors. As Dockett continues to navigate the complex landscape of corporate leadership, her commitment to financial empowerment and holistic well-being serves as a beacon of inspiration for inspiring leaders and industry stakeholders alike. Through her advocacy and leadership, Duckett embodies a vision of inclusive prosperity and resilience in the face of life's challenges. That's it. Hashtag.